Welcome to Reddit Tea Time. Am I the bonehead for telling my sister to stop dropping by mine and my wife's home if she's so jealous of my wife's cooking? My wife is an amazing cook. Her food is the favorite of everyone in our circle of people. She has been especially popular with my 3 nibblings ages 9, 8, and 6. I believe a big reason for this is my sister hates cooking and puts no effort into it. From a young age, she has been vocal about her disdain for cooking and how there are a million better things she could do with her time. She never cared if others were better than her before, but she has developed this intense jealousy of my wife because my nibblings enjoy my wife's cooking so much. They are always so excited when the family is around our house for dinner. Sometimes they will even stop by at lunchtime and my wife will gladly feed them something. My sister is the one bringing them to our house, but the last few weeks she has been showing how jealous she is, making snide comments and generally being ungrateful for the fact my wife is feeding the kids semi-regularly. Yesterday, they stopped by again and the kids asked if they could get some dinner with us. My wife was like, sure, and my sister said she must be so petty trying to show her up and not caring that they love her food more than their own mom's food. I told my sister my wife was doing nothing wrong and she could always stay home if she wanted to feed her own kids. She said it's the fact they show so much appreciation and love for my wife's food and they never have anything good to say about hers. I told her she should take more of an interest in cooking, and she might get more compliments. From there, my sister got more bitter about it and said my wife had some nerve. I told her she could just stop coming over if she's so jealous about my wife's cooking that she can't be more respectful of her in our home. My sister asked if I was kicking her out, and I asked if she was going to be respectful. She called me a jerk and left with the kids, saying she'd make them something at home. Last night, she sent a text saying I was out of line and should be more understanding. Am I the bonehead? Now for some comments. Out of line for expecting guests to be polite to your wife in your home? Not the bonehead. Let me see if I have this right. Sis hates to cook. Sis happily gets out of cooking by dropping 3 kids on you on short notice at meals. Sis complains wife is a show-off and a jerk for feeding the kids she can't be bothered to cook for. Not the bonehead. Your wife is a saint and your sister is ridiculous. This is the real-life equivalent of that meme where the guy puts a stick in his own bicycle spokes, not the bonehead. Would I be the bonehead for thinking it's a weird thing for my landlord to ask me to take care of his kids? I, 25 female, live in a large city and stay in a family's basement for over $1,300 a month. They have been nice, but we don't really talk at all, which is fine with me. I moved in around February and I mostly keep to myself and just go to work. My landlord, 50s male, told me they would be leaving to go out of the country because his parent was in critical condition. He took his entire family with him, which is his wife and kids. They asked me to look out for packages and stuff while they're gone, which is not a big deal, so I said okay and to have a safe flight, etc. A week later, today, he texts me and says his kids would be coming back, but not him, about a week from now. He asked me to take his kids to school until he gets back. I don't know when exactly that is. The reason I think I might be the bonehead is because I think it's an insane request to ask a tenant that just lives here, and I don't know if they have any other family here. But I also know we live in a high cost of living area, and this house is probably worth more than I could ever afford, so I don't see why it's my responsibility to take care of my landlord's children. He could probably pay for a rideshare service or something else. For reference, the kids are at least 17, I believe. My mom says I'm a bonehead for not being helpful and that it's selfish. I have a job that I can work from home and maybe have time to take them. I start about an hour after I would take them to school. I haven't called him about it yet because I feel bad, but like I said, I have a full-time job and live in a big city. If I want to go into the office or am required to for anything, I had already made plans to go into the office next week for something I have to do, for example. I don't have time to take them because it takes over an hour to get there. I genuinely think it's an insane thing to ask a random tenant to do without consideration of my job or my life. He just said, I won't be coming back and I need you to take my kids to school for an undisclosed amount of time. Granted, I have not called him yet to hear more, and the circumstances are out of his control, so I don't know if I am the bonehead and should take his kids to school. Now for some comments. Not the bonehead. Weird and totally inappropriate, and I wonder if he'd have made this ridiculous request if you were 25 male. I would just say no, but if you are inclined to do this for him, don't do it for free. Calculate a daily rate for this service that you are happy with, then add a decent additional amount on for the last-minute nature of the request. and make him agree in writing that it will come off your next month's rent before you lift a finger. Are you sure the text was meant for you? This is extremely weird. If his kids are old enough to travel alone and stay on their own at home, they can figure out how to get to school. You would not be the bonehead. Not the bonehead. That's definitely a ridiculous request. You're not a house sitter or nanny. You are paying them for housing. They are not paying you for childcare. Looking out for packages is one thing, but being responsible for someone's children? That's a huge responsibility and not something a landlord should ask of a tenant at all, honestly, but especially without offering compensation. He should have called you to ask and offered compensation in return for you taking his kids to and from school. Sending a text basically just telling you that this is happening is super weird. It's tricky since you live there and you definitely don't want to get on the family's bad side, but you are 100% okay to refuse this request and to think it's a crazy thing to ask. Am I the bonehead for telling my daughter that her relationship with her guy friend is weird? My daughter Nicole, female 22, came home for winter break and she had friends over yesterday. My husband Bill, male 50, and I, female 51, greeted and caught up with Nicole's friends for a bit. One of Nicole's best guy friends, John, male 20, had started bulking up nearly a year ago according to Nicole, and it was definitely evident today. Bill complimented John and said he looked big, and I added to it, saying it was clear he was putting in the hard work. John thanked us, and Nicole said, "Yeah, dude, your butt is huge now. The squats and RDLs are definitely doing you favors." John laughed and thanked Nicole, and Bill and I gave each other an awkward yet amused look. I wish I was making this up. This morning, I was chatting with Nicole during breakfast, and John came up. Wanting to be honest, I told Nicole that I felt her relationship and dynamic with John was kind of weird, as it usually isn't normal for girls to be saying that about guys, unless it's their significant other. I also told Nicole that I've never been that flirty with platonic guy friends I've had since I was a teenager, only ever Bill. Nicole rolled her eyes and said I was stuck in the 1980s, and that her dynamic with John is just like that, playful and goofy. I asked if the two were dating, and I even assured Nicole that I'd be more than supportive if that were the case. Nicole got more annoyed and said no, saying that she's allowed to have platonic guy and girlfriends that she can maintain her own dynamic with. She got up after that and went out to go see a friend, and I later talked to Bill. Bill agrees that the dynamic's a bit weird, but it's not up to us to just say that to our daughter. Since Nicole got home, we pretty much dropped the topic and are fine, but this hasn't left my mind. Am I the bonehead? Edit. I think I'm starting to get more where you guys were all coming from. It may not be the way I had guy friends, but you are right that Nicole doesn't have to share the same dynamics I did. So there's really no sign that the two could be dating? Again, I'm not trying to say it's weird, but hardly have I ever heard of a girlfriend saying her guy friend has a huge butt. I couldn't even imagine how I'd feel if my 18-year-old boy's best girlfriend said that about him. Regardless, it does look like there's some modern things I may have to adjust to, haha. Also, both Nicole and John are straight for context. Now for some comments. Very soft, you're the bonehead. More like you are stuck in the 80s. I am 52, I get it. You're the bonehead. The only thing questionable about your daughter's behavior is her saying you're stuck in the 80s. You're clearly stuck in like the 50s, 30s. I don't think this would have been a problem in the 80s. You're the bonehead. If her commenting on his physique is kind of weird, isn't it also kind of weird that you and your husband commented on his physique? You're the bonehead. I could see your daughter's comment to John as somewhat sarcastic and meant to be funny. Am I the bonehead for calling my friend's love story creepy as hell? Okay, I have this friend, female 27 Nina, who I'd objectively say is the package deal. She makes over $100,000 in her job, is quite beautiful, athletic, and has a bubbly personality. I know it sounds like I'm thirsting after her, but I'm a straight woman. She is currently dating male 27, Pat. Obviously fake names. They met in school way back in grade 6. They went through school, with Nina having a mild crush on Pat from grade 6 to 8, and Pat having a massive crush on her from grades 8 to 12, with some breaks in between. After they both graduated, they went to different unis, Pat in Ireland, with Nina in Canada. Their families are also friends, as their mothers know each other, so they saw each other sometimes during semester breaks when they were not at their parents' houses. Eventually, after uni, Nina was planning to move to Ireland, as she got a job offer with an Irish company, coincidentally in the same city that Pat was living and working in. So their parents connected them, and Pat basically helped Nina move in, and they were next-door neighbors for a year. I don't know about you guys, but being a neighbor to a high school classmate of mine would be terrifying in and of itself. Pat and Nina became friends, and after a while, they both caught feelings for each other and began dating. When Nina told me all of this, I was immediately creeped out. I started trying to convince her to move so she could be away from Pat. I also went after Pat. All of this elicited a sit-down confrontation between me and Nina and Pat. I told them that it was 100% creepy that Pat pines for Nina for 4+ years and he finally gets what he wants. I told Nina that she was manipulated by Pat to catch feelings for him, as he's always wanted to date her. It isn't healthy for her to be dating a guy from her high school, let alone a creep like Pat. They have now cut me from Nina's life, which is exactly what an abuser would do, by the way. Am I the bonehead? Now for some comments. You're the bonehead. He didn't orchestrate her move to Ireland. I read through the post twice and can't figure out your issue with their story. Let me get this straight. Pat is such a pro-stalker on Nina that he correctly anticipates where she'll end up living 9 or 10 years after high school, finds a flat exactly where he knows Nina will end up, then acts like a friendly neighbor for a year while secretly laughing his sinister villain laugh about how his plan for world domination is slowly coming together, or at the very least his plan to ask Nina on a date. You're Looney Tunes, and you're the bonehead, a huge one. This is not creepy, it's a great meet-cute story for them to tell their children someday. You're the bonehead, mind your own business. The only person in this story who gives me the creeps is you. You're the bonehead, and I'm confused as to why you take issue with their relationship. Pat didn't stalk Nina. She moved to the city he was already living in, and they were connected by family. I fail to see where any manipulation took place. They spent time together and began dating. That's pretty normal. It comes across like you either have feelings for Nina, though you say you don't, have feelings for Pat that were unrequited and feel bitter, or are otherwise projecting some feeling of slight or rejection from your own life onto their situation. Obviously, we only have your post to go on, but the only creepy behavior I see is your obsession with their relationship. What do you think? Please like and tell me in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because you don't want to miss a single Reddit story. In the meantime, please take care of yourself. I'll see you soon.